When you get to the middle of the 1-1 reader, we're going to prepare the students for independent reading. This brings us to Stage 3, Uniform Approach. First, we're going to strengthen the decoding skills. We're going to develop a flash response with these summary exercises. Give each student a copy of the exercise and proceed as follows. Why is this family short?
Because there's only one vowel.
Add an F. What's the word?
Fat.
And I have to give you a pencil, right? Okay. Why is this family long?
Because there's an E on the end.
What's the family?
8.
Add an F. What's the word?
Fate.
Why is this family long?
Because 2 vowels together.
Add a W. What's the word?
Wait.
Why is this family sight?
Because you can't sound it out.
What does it say?
Awk.
Add a W.
Walk.
Why is this family short?
Because it has only one vowel.
What's the family?
M.
Add an H. What's the word?
Hem.
Why is this family long?
Because it has an E at the end.
What's the family?
Eam.
Add TH. What's the word?
Theme.
Why is this family long?
Because there are 2 vowels together.
What's the family?
Eam.
Add an S. What's the word?
Seam.
Why is this family sight?
Because you can't sound it out.
What does it say?
8.
Add FR. What's the word?
Freight.
Why is this family short?
Because it has only one vowel.
What's the family?
It.
Add a B. What's the word?
Bit.
Why is this family long?
Because it has an E at the end.
What's the family?
Ite.
Add a B. What's the word?
Bite.
Why is this family long?
Because there are 2 vowels together.
What's the family?
I.
Add a T. What's the word?
Tie.
Why is that family sight?
Because you can't sound it out.
Add an H. What does the family say?
I.
Add an H, and what's the word?
High.
Right. Okay. Why is this family short?
Because there is only one vowel.
What's the family?
Ought.
Add an N. What's the word?
Not.
Why is that family long?
Because there's an E at the end.
What's the family?
Oat.
Add an N. What's the word?
Note.
Why is this family long?
Because there are 2 vowels together.
What's the family?
Oat.
Add a B. What's the word?
Vote.
Why is that a sight family?
Because you can't sound it out.
What's the family?
Ought.
Add TH. What's the word?
Thought.
Good. Why is that short?
Because there is only one vowel.
What's the family?
Ut.
Add a C. What's the word?
Cut.
Why is that family long?
Because there's an E at the end.
What's the family?
Oot.
No. Always
Ute.
add a C. What's the word?
Cute.
Why is that family long?
Because there are 2 vowels together.
What's the family?
You.
Add an H. What's the word?
Hue.
Why is that sight?
Because you can't sound it out.
What does it say? Add an F. The word.
Fur.
As you can see, that the message is always the same, always consistent. We are now ready to give the students an independent decoding technique. What would happen if we introduced every word in exactly the same way with a uniform approach? Let's find out. Okay? Tell the students that they are now ready to be told the secret of reading. And tell them that the secret is to decode every single word this way. What's the first vowel? What's the family? What's the word? Now let's see if this works. What's the first vowel?
U.
Underline UCH. What's the family?
Utch.
What's the word?
Much.
What's the first vowel?
E.
Underline EAT. What's the family?
Eat.
What's the word?
Treat.
Very good. What's the first vowel?
A.
Underline AME. What's the family?
Aim.
What's the word?
Flame.
What's the first vowel?
A.
Underline ART. What's the family?
Art.
What's the word?
Start.
Now when you have multisyllable words, you just say what's the next vowel and follow through the word that way. What's the first vowel?
E.
Underline EX. What's the family?
X.
What's the next vowel?
A.
Underline AIN. What's the family?
Aim.
Add PL.
Plain.
What's the word?
Explain.
What's the first vowel?
A.
Underline AD. What's the family?
Add.
What's the next vowel?
I.
Underline IN. What's the family?
In.
Add M.
Min.
Go back.
Admin.
What's the next vowel?
I.
Underline IS. What's the family?
Is.
Go back.
Admin is.
What's the next vowel?
E.
Underline ER. What's the family?
Add
T.
Ter.
What's the word?
Administer.
Right. Now, explain to the students that they always begin with the vowel because all the families begin with vowels. The only exception is shun and shun, and those words would be done this way. What's the first vowel?
E.
Underline EF. What's the family?
F.
Add D.
Deaf.
What's the next vowel?
I.
Underline IN. What's the family?
In.
Go back.
Deafin.
What's the next vowel?
I.
Go back. Go back.
Deafin.
One vowel is short. I. Go back.
Definition.
Underline T-I-O-N. What's the family?
Shun.
And what's the word?
Definition.
Correct. What's the first vowel?
E.
Underline E-X. What's the family?
X.
What's the next vowel?
A.
Underline A-N. What's the family?
An.
Add P.
Pan.
Go back.
Expand.
Underline S-I-O-N. What's the family?
Shun.
What's the word?
Expansion.
Very good. Now, let's see if, in fact, the students can figure out the exceptions on their own when they have got 90% of the reliable phonic information. What's the first vowel?
A.
Underline A-I-D. What's the family?
Aid.
What's the word?
Sade.
Now, they would know that's an exception because it's not a real word, and it would be called a twister, and they would put a squiggle right next to the word. Now, it's called a twister because they're going to twist it into the meaningful context of a sentence, all right? Then the teacher will give a sentence using this mispronunciation. For example, I heard every word you said, and then the student will give the correct word, which is?
Said.
All right, let's try a few more words like that. What's the first vowel?
O.
Underline O-V-E. What's the family?
O.
What's the word?
Mauve. Twister.
Very good. Please move over and let me sit next to you.
Move.
Very good. What's the first vowel?
O.
Underline O-N-E. What's the family?
Own.
What's the word?
Gone. Twister.
I will be gone for about 1 hour.
Gone.
Very good. What's the first vowel?
A.
Underline A-N-T. What's the family?
Ant.
What's the word?
Went. Twister.
Good. Which one of these do you want?
Want.
Okay. Now, in some cases that are very few and far between, the mispronunciation will be far enough away from the correct pronunciation that the students will not be able to twist it into the context of your sentence. In a case like that, you will have to tell them the word, and then you're going to point out the clues that will help them remember the word the next time they say it. For example, on this word, they would say, what's the family? Agaha, lagaha, twister. Then you might give a sentence like, the clown made us lagaha, but they still can't twist it. So this is called a killer, and you would split the word like this, meaning killer. Then you would say the word is laugh, and you have two clues, o-ah. Now, these words that you cannot twist into the context are the final point of dependence on the teacher. And we will soon release the students from this dependence on the teacher also, as you will see. Now, before we go on, let's try a few more words with this uniform approach. What's the first vowel?
A.
Underline A-S-H. What's the family?
Ash.
What's the word?
Splash.
What's the first vowel?
A.
Underline A-P. What's the family?
App.
Add C.
Cap.
What's the next vowel?
A.
Underline A-I-N. What's the family?
Ain.
Add T.
Tane.
What's the word?
Captain. Twister.
Very good. He is the captain of the ship.
Captain.
Good. What's the first vowel?
O.
Underline O-U-L-D. What's the family?
Old.
There.
Owled.
What's the word?
Wowled. Twister.
Okay. Well, would you like to come out with me?
Would.
Okay, now I thought you wouldn't be able to twist that. If they couldn't twist it, because that is really off the pronunciation, it would have been called a killer. And then you would just tell them the word is would and point out the clues as would. Okay? What's the first vowel?
I.
Underline I-N. What's the family?
In.
What's the next vowel?
E.
Underline E-R. What's the family? Add T.
Ter.
Go back.
Inter.
What's the next vowel?
U.
Underline U-P-T. What's the family?
Upped.
Add R.
Rupt.
What's the word?
Interrupt.
Very good. And you may go back to your seat. Thank you. When applying the uniform approach to words, decode words in accordance with standard syllabication whenever it's possible. However, this will not always be possible because we're going to begin with the vowel each time. For example, in this case, it would be at, rat, earn, return, twister, return. However, remember that decoding words and syllabifying words are two separate processes. A word has to be decoded first before it can be syllabified. For example, you would have to know what this word is first before you can divide it into syllables. If the word is progress, it would be divided here. If the word is progress, it would be divided there. Therefore, first you decode, then you divide. Now, these words over here need special attention because they have been brought up in several occasions. Teachers have consistently asked what to do when you have three vowels together. For example, when you come over here, you have three vowels. Just remember to underline no more than two vowels together at any time. So you would underline this like this. And it would be curious, twister, curious. When you have words that have QU, always treat QU as a unit. For example, when you say, what's the next vowel, instead of saying U, you would go to the I. It would be ire, choir, acquire. Now, with E on the end words, the rule only applies on the end of the word. For example, like this, combine. If you try to apply the word in the middle of words, it doesn't usually work. For example, if you try to apply it here, it would say different, or if you try to apply it here, lenine or reamber, it doesn't work in the middle. Therefore, just decode those words as you would any other word. It would be different, lin-en, remember, twister, remember. Apply the E and the end rule only at the end of words. Continue to introduce all the new words with this uniform approach all through the 1-1 reader. When you get to the 1-2 reader, there's nothing new to learn. Continue to introduce all the words with the uniform approach. Meanwhile, we're going to review all of the phonics skills throughout the year. The phonic period is divided into 3 activities. Activity 1, you're going to do the flashcard review, and then on Friday have a phonic test. Now, during the second part of the phonic period, since everything has been introduced, we're going to concentrate on word skills. For example, roots and endings, contractions, possessives, compound words, and any other word skills. Now, this book is called Super Seatwork Word Skills, and it has every possible word skill that you would ever need. Just to show you a few of these, this has words and endings. For example, this boy, and you would write boys. It has drop B and add ing, and then there's a page where you change it back. You have the inflected form of the word, and you're going to change it back to the root word. It has change Y to I and add ES. It has compound words. And it has contractions. Now, with the contractions, everything is introduced one contraction at a time rather than mixing all these contractions together. For example, we're working only with the contraction not. First, you look at the 2 words, you look at the contraction, you analyze it, and you say what letters are missing. On the next page, you get the 2 words and you connect it with the contraction. Then you convert the contraction back into the 2 words. On the following page, there is a test. There are the 2 words, and you write the contraction. And this book also has possessives, prefixes, suffixes, and every word skill you could possibly need. All right, now activity number 3. On Monday, we're going to do a short vowel family. And remember, that's a family like this. On Tuesday, we're going to do a long vowel family with E on the end, and that would be a family like that. On Wednesday, we're going to do a long vowel family with 2 vowels together, and that would be a family like this. On Thursday, we're going to do some exercises with sight families, and that would look like this. And then on Friday, we would do a summary, which would be like the exercise that we just did before. Why, so that your students will have a flash response of all this material.